So Reggie flew into Florida, and one of his goals was to check out the Revolt. So we decided to do a demo flight. Reggie's a 2,500-hour pilot. He's been flying trikes for a little bit now, and he's a former editor of Sport Aerobatic Pilot magazine. So if you're watching this video, you're probably going to see Reggie throw it around like I think he likes to do with a lot of different aircraft. I asked him if he'd like any advanced flight instruction or if I could show him some of my techniques, and he graciously said, yes, please. So we're taking off, but it's midday, and make no mistake about it, we've got some midday bumps going. First thing I'm doing is showing him thumbs up and elbows down, and how we pull high hand to hip to roll. And now he's giving it a shot, also pushing the bar out to coordinate the turn. So we're locked into a pretty nice left bank here, and he's bringing it back and going the other direction, coordinating, and just really getting a feel for the roll. And there he goes, throwing it 60 degrees already, but that's what he likes to do. And the Revolt is happy to do it. We're going to go ahead and make a 360 clearing turn now, because we're going to do some stalls and some spirals. And so good, it looks like the area is clear. I can't tell you how many times pilots like to start doing aggressive maneuvers and they haven't cleared the airspace. And remember, when you're flying a trike, just about everything comes up from behind you because we're so slow. So Reggie asked about doing a power on stall. And so the first thing I'm doing is getting him closer to that critical angle attack with his body and making sure he doesn't lock his elbows. So I'm also backing up the throttle, because if you do a power on stall and drop the throttle, you could turn that into a whip stall. Now what I'm showing him here is that we can actually control the roll while we stall by applying a torsional load to the control bar. So we just dropped the right wing there in the stall. That was not intended. And so I'm telling him to lean forward, and now I'm going to get on the controls. We're going to push it out, and not only are we going to stall it, there's the stall. We're holding it in the stall. I'm twisting the bar to keep the wings level. And now we recover and fly right out. Okay, so now we're going to do a spiral dive. We're starting with a steep bank turn. We're letting the nose start to wind in, and now we're going to reduce power. And I'm actually pushing the bar out. That's going to wind up the spiral a little bit, but it's also going to control our airspeed and keep our airspeed from accelerating too quick. And now we're pulling high hand to hip to recover, and that looked pretty good. I'm instructing him that we may want to roll out a little bit gentler to keep the G-force and airspeed down to a minimum as we come out of the bottom of the spiral like that. I asked him to do some more S-turns, because what I noticed earlier is that he's dropping the nose in the S-turns. So he's definitely dropping the nose in the S-turns. So now what I'm pointing out is to keep his eyes in front of him when he initiates each turn, and don't let the nose of the carriage drop below the horizon. So you're going to have to coordinate a little bit sooner, and there it is. Now the nose is staying up on the horizon, and we can roll right into the other direction and keep the nose, there it is, keep the nose up. And so we were kind of getting into a little bit of a lazy 8 as we were making those S-turns. And it's important to be able to keep the nose on the horizon. It's one of the best ways to stay out of an accidental spiral. You know, you let the nose drop in and then you bring it up. Well, you get too steep in there, and as you go to bring it up, you wind it in, and that's where these accidental spirals can originate from. But here we're doing a spiral or a teardrop entry into the midfield right downwind for 2-3. It's one of the ways I really like to enter the pattern, because if we enter in a 45, we may wind up in front of somebody else's downwind that does a bigger downwind than we do. So it allows us to stay up and above the pattern, make sure it's clear. We can enter that teardrop, even though we may have come from not over the top of the airport, but in this case we came out of the north. Just a way to stay clear of anybody else's faster downwind. And so now we're going to go ahead and turn base. And I'm adding a little bit of power. I want to set up high because we're going to do a power off approach for this landing. And I asked him if he's familiar with a steep approach and a full flare, and he says yes. So we're going to go ahead and set that up. And if you compare how the beginning of the flight actually started with us bouncing around quite a bit compared to now, and we're flying fairly low right now. You can see we're definitely getting some movement, but this thumbs up and elbows down is already taking shape. It's really starting to work. Now I'm instructing him to bring the nose up, and this is just slowing us down. This is going to make it real easy for us to be able to dive. So we're slow, and now we're dropping the nose. We're setting our dive angle, and keeping that nose down, staying lined up with the runway. And it can be a little tricky keeping the nose down when you're in this much convection. No problem. We've got a pretty good round out now. He's sitting back in his seat again. He's reaching locked elbows. And locked elbows did that to our landing. So I'm instructing him to lean forward. And now what we're going to do is we're going to redo that flare. So this is called a crow hop. And basically it's just as if we had just come in, but now he's leaning forward. And we want to control and protect the nose wheel. We want to be fluid with our elbows down, and we want to have precise control as we skim 6 inches off the runway. So because I have some throttle in, we're prolonging this flare. Call it the endless flare. We've got a mile of runway, so we're going to use it, but not locking the elbows, having those elbows down. That's what's giving us this control. And you can see how far forward I'm leaning out of my seat, and you can see my elbows are bent. So even I can't get away with sitting back and locking my elbows and trying to have control. And so I'm giving him some leeway. I'm making sure that it doesn't get too high in the air while we do this. And yeah, he did very, very well. So he's gone home, he's practiced some of these techniques, and he says it's making some nice improvements for him. So great job, and thanks for flying with us.